Welcome to this video. In this video I want to give you an introduction to IFS as a therapeutic process. So this video is going to be both a more theoretical introduction to the therapeutic process, what are the steps, what is the internal flow of the therapeutic process, but I want to do that in a very practical way. I want to show you what would happen with each step in this therapeutic process. I want to do that with the example we've already talked about, with the very hard-working part that never said never again. And I want to do that by kind of explaining and simulating a session with a therapist, in this case good old Sigmund Freud. So this video is going to be about explaining each step in IFS, explaining what would happen in the internal system, and then giving an example based on that example we've already talked about with the hardworking part. That's today's session. And before I dive into the process and into explaining the single steps of IFS, I want to just repeat one thing I've already said, because I think it helps to have a red thread going through this whole video, which is that an IFS session or IFS therapy in its essence is about having a space for the self and the parts to connect. So all of the tools, all of the steps I'm going to talk about today are basically about how can the self and how can the parts connect. How can the self hold the parts, be with the parts, but also how can the parts learn how to trust the self. And the whole process I'm going to take you through today is the process that's taught by Richard Schwartz in his trainings and also in his books. Now, this design is something I came up with myself, and I'll explain it as I go along. But in essence, the steps, the finding, focusing, fleshing out, all of that are what Richard Schwartz teaches in his books. And for instance, in the book I'm linking below in the description.
You never know what's around the next corner. So.